This is about becoming post-human. This is about relinquishing yourself from the control of society. I have torn apart my emotions within inside myself and removed myself out of society as an observer, now looking at its mechanisms and other people who are a slave to their emotions, their desires, everything that they feel in this simulation called society, while I operate outside of it while existing inside of it. Mentally, I am outside of it. I'm no longer here. The average individual is operating on these biological, emotional mechanisms that control them completely. They're a slave to their desires and what society tells them they ought to have in this construct called society that isn't even real. And becoming post-human is a process of removing yourself from the construct of being human entirely. Being completely sovereign within yourself beyond even your own human programming. That is becoming post-human. That is becoming more than human. Because now you're not normal anymore. You're not like the rest of these people. You're in complete and utter control of yourself while you watch everybody like robots think they're in control of themselves when they're actually not. Because they're still slaves to the internal programming. That society kind of, how should I say, validates that it's good to do that, because society as a whole benefits off of that, and so do the people that control it, right? So becoming post-human means removing yourself from the construct of being human, because the construct of being human is the last construct. Then after that, it's the meat body that you're still a slave to, the fucking meat prison. And to get over that, you need transhumanism. And we're not there yet, but we might be with artificial intelligence. So the goal here is to push the Overton window farther than anybody ever has done before. Andrew Tate didn't go far enough. He still exists in this moral framework, this social hierarchy that isn't real, because he wants to be the king of it. In order to be the king of it, he has to have some kind of system in place, some kind of structure. He has to hold on to some kind of construct that he needs to enforce that's real. That's why constantly on my posts, I say that I'm the king of nobody and I'm the king of nothing, because it's actually fucking true, right? I'm not trying to become the king or the leader of people. At the end of the day, people don't ask enough questions, right? They don't poke at the things that people consider to be sacred, and they need to. They haven't gone far enough, okay? The reason why there's so many people trying to swat me, trying to dox me, threatening to kill me, is because I've become the mirror, essentially, that they are forced to look into. I'm pushing them in a direction, forcing them to ask these questions about themselves and the fundamental aspects that they believe in about society and themselves, that force them to destroy their own ego. Because when they're forced to destroy their own ego, then everything they held on to becomes meaningless. And they're forced to rebuild who they were from nothing, right? They're forced to realize that everything that they've essentially created of themselves is simply a constructed reality, a false reality. And they'll hold on to that. They'll hold on to that so heavily that they will essentially threaten to kill you if you attack their ego by attacking their belief system. And there are questions that people are not asking that attack these sacred aspects of society that are never asked, and they're never pushed forward, because everybody wants to have power over other individuals. And in order to do that, they need to uphold some kind of construct. I have no desire to do so. I'm the destruction of these constructs. My own thoughts, my own feelings, my own desires, they're all part of the human simulation. Every emotion I feel, every desire I have, it all eventually feeds to actions that all end at one point, which is human breeding and procreation. And when you stop thinking like this, you're able to observe your own biological programming and basically understand how to push your choices in a direction that other people are not able to push them in, because of the fact that you're no longer a slave to your biological programming, right? Because every single emotion and every desire that you have leads into the direction of procreation, fucking, having more people, etc. This is it. This is the whole human history of everything that everybody does, no matter what they're doing. That's what it leads to. So when you remove yourself from that, you're able to look at yourself and say, whoa, okay, I'm not really in control of myself. The evolutionary psychological programming of my body is controlling me and my choices. And then you become an observer, right? You become an observer of yourself, and you're able to control yourself more than anybody else's. Because when you have the perception to think about your own thoughts, you basically create a situation in your mind where you have the ability to perceive your own thoughts while you're thinking them. And then you truly are able to think and act autonomously, because you're no longer subject to the biological operating system of your body like everybody else. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. The left-hand path, this is what the left-hand path actually looks like. Okay? You have to destroy inside your mind these institutions that control you. Religion, morality, society, this idea of being a good person. They're all constructed idealisms designed to control you. Nobody controls me, no ideal. Not even my own emotions and biological programming control me, right? And only this way are you able to truly shatter the chains from within you and become a free, autonomous human being. But then the consequence to pay for that is, like I said, freedom is the power to act without consequence. So logically, when you reach that point, you want to try to pursue as much power as possible to evade the consequences of being free. But an interesting thing happens, okay? When you start thinking this way, everybody and everything around you is completely hostile, because you become the fracture in their mask. You become the permanent rift in the fourth wall that they fucking exist in. For those of you who are still here and still understand me, you're at an entirely new level of consciousness than most people, but I could guarantee there's still shit inside of you that you haven't gotten rid of. And a lot of you need to start thinking about validation, because that's one of the first chains you have to get rid of, right? Right now, I have about anywhere from 20 to 35 million people a month who are watching me online, observing me. But the thing is that I don't give a fuck who is observing me. I don't give a shit who is liking my comments. I don't post for likes. I don't post for people to view me. I'm just here, okay? I don't need your fucking validation. I don't need the validation of social media. I don't need the validation of women. I don't need the validation of any of these traditional things that you feel that you need to desire for, the desire to be loved, the desire for family, etc. All this other fucking bullshit that you're a slave to. I'm not a slave to. And that's why personal attacks don't work on me. It's impossible for them to work on me. Because when you no longer validate yourself with the social hierarchy of society, with the economic hierarchy of society, it's impossible for anybody to launch personal attacks on you with this self-policing society. Tactics they'll use like humiliation, alienation, isolation, all this shit, none of it fucking works. You become completely invulnerable. And the reason why is because your validation comes from within you instead of these systems and these structures around you, and that you have within yourself enslaving you. And then you become completely just indestructible from the control of other people and any bullshit kind of social political games that they're going to fucking play against you isn't going to work. And the reason why it's not going to work is because you don't get validation from anybody except yourself, because you become the source. And this is what people mean when they say, I'm the source. I am. Because I am the source of all validation. So a perfect example of this is you can't just be about this, you have to live it. Right now I'm walking on a trail, there's people around, I could give a single fuck what they think, it doesn't matter. I'm filming, I'm doing my thing, right? I'm not lowering my voice for the comfort of others. I'm not basically changing my behavior for the people around me. This is what it's like to live vicariously as yourself, right? Without the care of other people around you. Because if you don't change your behavior and you walk around in public in this way to where like you're constantly micromanaging yourself or your voice or the way you act around other people, now you're a slave to their comfort. You're a slave to their desires. And the last thing I am is a fucking slave to other people. So you have to constantly work on this in order to be free within a society where everybody around you is going to try to basically turn down your energy at every corner. Because the thing is that when people try to do that to you, what they're doing is they're feeling embarrassed for you, because they would feel embarrassed in your place. And what you need to do when they pull that shit is you need to turn up the energy. You have to give a fuck, not give a fuck even more. Because most of you, you'll be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck. But you don't live as if you don't give a fuck. That's the problem. You have to live it. You have to become it. You have to truly not give a fuck what other people think about you and how they're perceiving you, as if they don't exist, right? As I'm walking here right now mentally, there's other people around me, but their desires, what they want, and how they want me to behave or how they want me to lower my energy doesn't exist in my fucking mind. Do you understand? It's not a factor in the way I act and behave or how I think or what I say or in anything. And when you start to live like this, you will see armies of people fucking form against you. It's insane.